Chapter 17. Powerade! I awaken to the sound of spoons clattering and voices shouting in the dining room. Jake is halfway out the door and pounding down the stairs before I tumble out of the hammock. The cup is no longer there. I rush to the window. It has been yanked down and lies broken amid the tossed spoons on the dining room floor. A girl with brown hair pulled into a tight ponytail is holding the paddle of the oar, while a guy with spiky blue hair and a tie-dyed t-shirt is using a Swiss Army knife to slice the fishing line off the handle. Another guy with dreadlocks has climbed on top of one of the benches and is busily removing a no parking sign from the wall. My heart jumps into my throat. I want to run down there and tackle the raiding crew, but the guys pulling down the oar look big and determined. I feel helpless. It'd be easy for them to squash like a bug if I tried to fight them. I'd be easy for them to squash like a bug if I tried to fight them. Jake comes into view, a howling tornado of protest. He grabs the middle of the oar and leaps into a dining room table, wrapping his body into a human knot around the wooden shaft. "You're not getting the oar, Pete," he yells. "Hi, Jake," the blue-haired guy says cheerfully. "I do believe I am getting the oar. Hannah, check and see if anyone's upstairs. We need to make sure that Jake's the only one around." The girl with the ponytail nods. Panicked, I duck down from the window and crawl under the bunk bed as I hear footsteps climb the stairs. I scrunch up and try to make myself as still and silent as possible. 2 neon yellow sneakers appear in the doorway. I can see flecks of mud and dirt on the shoelaces as they wind up to make little bows below a pair of gray wool socks. The sneakers step into the room and approach the bunk bed. They are so close. I swear the girl can feel my heart thumping like a jackrabbit against the wooden floor. "Pete, there's no one up here," Hannah calls down from the window. The neon sneakers take one more turn around the room before they finally leave. I remember to breathe again. I wriggle out from under the bed and take a quick look through the crew window. "George, get the duct tape," Pete barks to the dreadlock guy who's trying unsuccessfully to peel Jake off the oar. George grabs a roll of tape and tosses it to Hannah before joining Pete. Together, the 2 burly guys pry Jake off the oar, first his fingers, then his arms, then his legs, and reluctant feet. Hannah is waiting with duct tape. They hold him down while she winds the tape around his hands and his ankles until he is completely immobile. With a flourish, Pete rips off one last piece of tape and seals it across Jake's mouth. Once Jake is taped up, Pete, Hannah, and George go to town on the dining room, unscrewing bolts and pulling out nails to free all the decorations until the walls are bare. They pile up the signs they have taken and tie them to wooden packboards they have brought with them before carrying them to the front porch. Pete picks up the oar and lashes it to his packboard using a length of twine. He takes his time, looping and knotting the twine tightly to make it extra secure. He gives the oar a loud kiss and carries it reverentially to the porch. When he returns, he smacks his lips together. "Snack time, anyone?" Pete and the other 2 raiding crew members disappear below me into the kitchen. I hear them shuffling about, raiding more than just signs in the oar. Jake has been placed on top of a dining room table. He looks up and sees me. His head tilts a little and his eyes fixate on the front porch for a moment, then jump back over me. I know what he wants me to do. It scares me. I can handle the woods. I don't know if I can handle people, especially confident, ridiculously in-shape college kids who would kill me if they caught me. "Come on, Toad, don't be a chicken." It's Lucas in my head again. I take a deep breath and look around the crew room. On the table next to the radio, a pair of pink scissors is jammed into a wide-mouthed mason jar along with black permanent markers and pens. I pick up the scissors. My hands are shaking so hard that I nearly jab myself as I tuck them in my pocket. There is a door in the crew room that leads to a metal catwalk over the backyard. I open it quietly and tiptoe across it. The kitchen windows are open directly below me. I can hear Pete laughing as he crunches on something. I reach the end of the catwalk and make a wide counterclockwise circle into the front of the hut. Ducking below the dining room windows, I drop to my hands and knees and crawl over the packboards on one of the porches. Both porch doors have been propped wide open, and I can see Jake slumped on the front dining room table. He slides his eyes over to me, and I give him a quick nod. As quietly as I can, I begin cutting the twine, pinning the oar to Pete's packboard. My hands wobble like crazy. Pete tied some good knots, and it takes several tries before they give way to the multi-purpose shears. Yo, Jake, want some crackers? The voice sounds like it's right next to me. I look up. George is standing in front of Jake holding a box of Triscuits. He only has to swing his head left to see me through the doorway. A 12-year-old nothing of a kid crouched above the most precious raid item in the entire Hut's system. George rips off the duct tape, keeping Jake silent. He pulls out a cracker and makes dive-bombing sounds as he swoops it towards Jake's mouth. The cracker starts curving left. Hey man, can you stir the soup and take out the bread? Jake asks. Yeah, no problem. The cracker flies back to center and is fed to Jake. George throws a handful of Triscuits down the hatch, then heads back to the kitchen munching. I slide my hands around the center of the oar and hoist it up. The paddle end is heavier than I realize, and it rises 2 inches before gravity takes over and it thunks gently onto the floorboards. I wince. One of the raid crew must have heard me. I wait a few agonizing seconds, but no one comes out to inspect the noise. I breathe in quiet, shallow gulps as I shift my grip and swing the oar sideways. Waddling under the weight, I move off the porch. There is a short bark. Moose runs over to me, his tail wagging. He has woken from his nap at exactly the wrong moment. Shh. I bend down to quiet him, nearly ramming the oar into the ground. I swing it up at the last second and motion for Moose to follow me down the trail. When we get about 20 yards away from the hut, I hear someone shouting, "We've been found out." I crash off the trail and into the woods. I nearly eat dirt when the oar dips down and rams into the ground. I sprawl forward and just barely catch myself on Moose's skinny back. He whines and holds still while I get my feet back under me. I yank the oar level again and keep going, trying to keep all 8 feet of it from wobbling out of balance again. It seems to bang on every bush and tree that I pass, but it doesn't hit the ground again. 100 yards later, I stop panting hard. I prop the oar against a maple tree and quiet my breath. I wait for the sounds of pursuit, but none come. I sit on a rock with Moose by my side and we wait. After an hour, I am convinced that I've waited long enough. I carry the oar back until I can see the trail, then stash it behind an old rotting log. When I get back to the hut, the signs of the front porch are gone. I tell Moose to stay outside and head in. Jake is in the kitchen digging a spoon into a pint of Ben & Jerry's Chunky Monkey ice cream. When he sees me, he grins. "You got the oar?" I nod. Jake laughs. The crew from Greenleaf are mighty mad they couldn't figure out where it went. I think I've convinced them that Zealand has a ghost thief. Ghost thief? I could get used to the name. Sounds wily. Jake goes to the freezer and removes a second pint. It's fish food. Chocolate ice cream with chocolate fish swimming in marshmallow swirls. My favorite. Jake hands me the pint and a spoon. For you. Where'd you get it? Whether or not a raid is successful, it is tradition for raiding crew members to offer tokens of consolation to the crew that gets raided. In this case, we are the lucky winners of 2 pints of Ben & Jerry's. So that was a power raid, I say, as Jake and I gobble and slurp down our pints. Yup, Jake says, licking his spoon. It's more risky than a night raid. If any of my crew had stayed around, we could have shut them down. He pats me on the back, but they weren't, and we still have the oar. I'm glad you were here, Tony. After we finish the ice cream, I show Jake where I hid the oar, and we spend the afternoon rigging it to the wall. When we are done, it is the only decoration in the dining room, but it is enough. As I stare at one of the silver spoons peeking out from the oar's paddle, a flicker of pride shoots through me. I did it. I helped Jake out and didn't screw everything up. I can protect things. It feels like my bad luck is turning. I think of Andy's marble safely tucked away in my pack. Once again, it seems to be working.